Well, good afternoon, everyone. A very, very warm welcome to Career Chat Live Lockdown number 3. This is part of our new 2020 webinar series. A very, very warm welcome. I'm Deirdre Hughes, and today I'm going to be joined by 3 co-presenters. You can maybe see on screen at the moment 2 of the 3, and I can just see that our presenter Reese has just joined us. So let me just begin really by saying thank you so much to everyone who's joined us. We've got people from Belfast, Scunthorpe, the Isle of Man, Turkey, Suffolk, wherever you are in the world. We're great and really, really pleased that you're here with us. It's terrific. So let me just very quickly set the scene around this webinar. We're going to have a little bit of interactive activity here. So fingers crossed it all goes well. I think what I'd like to do is just begin by briefly just introducing our co-presenters today. You'll see Gareth there. He'll maybe give you a wave. He's Head of Digital and Comms at Careers Wales. Gareth leads a digital team that's seeking innovative ways of using technology, particularly in an all-age national career service environment. We're also going to hear from Reese Herriott, and Reese works for Nesta. He's the program manager there and oversees the new Career Tech Challenge Prize. And he'll be telling us more about that. And his work is part of the Thriving Communities team with a focus on the future work and skills. And I know that a lot of people who've signed up for this webinar are really keen to look at what the future might look like in terms of some of the trends as we emerge from a pandemic, hopefully sooner rather than later. And George will give us a wave from Athens. You'll see George later. George is part of the Career Chat team. And delighted, George is going to tell you about our new career chatbot, which again is in partnership with Nesta and DFE. So those are the sort of formalities now. I can sort of relax and just talk you all through really what we have got planned for this afternoon. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this webinar as a story of 2 halves, really. The first half of the story is very much around looking at how digital innovation is taking place in this kind of new normal that we're all finding ourselves in. And we'll be looking really at how a country like Wales is addressing that as part of their digital journey. Then I'm going to hand over to Reese, who's going to tell us about the Career Tech Challenge. Then George will enlighten you with some reflections on how do we develop and maximize the technology going forward. And then together we'll have a chance, hopefully you can ask some questions. I'm going to do my very best after George has presented. I'm going to do my best to bring some of you into the conversation. And if you have a look at your screen, you'll see at the top of the screen, there should be a little hand where you can put your hand up or just click on it if you do want to speak after George's presentations. That's when I will, I'll bring you in. So just bear with us because probably like you, this is sort of new for us, some of the software we're using. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed it'll all work smoothly. But it really does need you to engage with us. And that's why we've got the chat facility. So look, if you haven't done it already, do say hello. And why not share with us, how many meetings online have you been in today? Let's see who has the record between when you got up this morning and this particular webinar. How many have you been in? Just type in the number into the chat facility. It'd be great to know. 5, 3, 5, 5, 3, 4, 5, 8. Now, because we've got 186 people, I'm not able to see who it was that had 8 meetings already, but I take my hat off to you. I've had 6, and I thought that I had had a busy morning. And I think that's really relevant to this subject that we're going to talk about, digital innovations. Because I think we're all finding it sort of different to what we've been used to. So let me just begin by asking you again in the chat facility, which face best represents your experience of virtual meetings? And I want you to be honest. Are you in the kind of red category? I call it maybe steaming, not too happy. Are you over there on the green spectrum around a happy bunny? Let's just see in our audience, what colour represents how you feel about your experience of virtual meetings? Orange, a light green face, yellow and green, orange, green, light green. Not seeing many dark green. Oh, I've just spotted a dark green. But I think this is one of the most important things really when we look at digital innovation. We're all actually coming at this in a different way. And when we do these webinars, we do really listen to what you say in the chat facility. So for example, Ashleen Fleming at our last webinar told us about a brilliant article, which was around why are we all so tired when we actually have these Zoom meetings. And if you go into our resources section on our website, you'll see that we've created an online guidance section. And we're putting in any great articles that might help explain really how we feel about using the technology, but also how we can use it effectively. So when you get a chance, go into that section, and thank you for your ideas. Now, to move us really just into the main content of our presentation today, I said I would set the scene with some context. Now, at our last webinar, Chris Webb told us that when he was thinking about lockdown and thinking about the recession, that graduates and professional managerial jobs were more likely to actually transition into remote working, and that jobs at that level were more likely to be displaced only if they were sort of non-graduate jobs and people who were in sectors at risk. And we're going to be talking about that today. Adam Powell raised our awareness of new legislation on the Good Work Plan in the UK. It came in officially on the 6th of April, and we've put up a blog, so thank you, Adam, for that, where I guess many of us are thinking about recovery from COVID-19. You know, will it be that V shape, the U shape, the W shape, the L shape? These are all things really that are the unknowns. But what we do know is that digital and digital innovation is something that we are seeing more of already, as witnessed by us. And I thought it might be useful just to say that I attended a Centre for Cities webinar recently, and it was really powerful when you look at this PowerPoint presentation, that it talks about every city has at least 1 in 5 jobs in the UK classified as either vulnerable or very vulnerable. And apologies, you might not be able to read it in detail, but this is really helpful because later when we talk about career chat and our bot that we're developing, which is very exciting, you'll see that in the cities here, Derby is one of those cities up at the very top. And I'm going to pick up on, we will be working in Derby, Newcastle, which is down at the bottom, and indeed in Bristol. So these trends, wherever you are in the world, Australia, Canada, further afield, we'll be looking really at how can we use digital innovation to help more people to find good and meaningful work. So I'm going to just sort of move on to the next slide, which is really for Gareth to speak to, but a sobering thought for all of us. On the BBC News 1.5 hours ago, and I made a note of it, it said that 1 million under 25-year-olds face unemployment, and that youth unemployment could rise by 640,000 this year, taking the total to above 1 million. This is a report from the Resolution Foundation, which will be on our website. But I just wanted to really say that this digital innovation session is about adults and it's about young people. So I'm going to hand over to Gareth, who's going to tell us about Careers Wales and how Careers Wales is responding.
Thank you, Deirdre, and Pranav Dar. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to be involved today. And I hope everyone's safe and well wherever you're tuning in. So I'm Gareth Phillips. I'm Head of Digital and Communications at Careers Wales. For those of you who don't know, Careers Wales is the careers information, advice and guidance service for Wales. We're all age, independent and impartial. We employ 632 staff at 30 plus locations around Wales. And our approach to digital was really defined in, we've got a strategy called Changing Lives. And that's really sort of defined our digital transformation journey, focused really on a customer-centered blend of face-to-face and digital services. That strategy ended in April, and we've been working with Deirdre on the development of a new strategy, of which digital is going to have obviously a very significant role to play. And I just think that the question that's certainly in my mind, and I think yours as well at the moment, is the role. How will the next sort of what's happened over the past 5 weeks define what happens in the next 5 years? So some of the things we've been looking at, I'm sure will be familiar to lots of you involved in careers guidance. The role of AI and chatbot technology in the delivery of careers guidance, and I know that's something Deirdre will talk about later. But how we carry on with that blended service, knowing that from a customer point of view, that the face-to-face contact and the trust and relationships that build from personal contact are still really key. But how we're going to have to adapt and see what opportunities there are from AI and chatbot technology. We know that the direction of all digital is around a more personalized service, and for us, underpinning that with sort of really good LMI that can be tailored and provide people with opportunities and greater awareness of their community and the opportunities that are available to them is going to be really important in that. The development of future skills. We know there's a lot of skills 4.0 is the term that they've been referred to by colleagues in Scotland, and what role of careers practitioners got in developing those skills around problem solving and creative thinking and self-awareness as part of the careers guidance model. From a digital services point of view, for us it's a relentless focus on meeting user needs, probably best described by a colleague who asked, why are we always telling people what we want to tell them rather than what the customer needs to know? And I think that's a danger we often get into, particularly when we're sort of providing online content. I think there's a big role, and we've all seen, this has been accelerated recently, our approach to e-learning and perhaps some digital preventative interventions. I'm thinking of things like the in-work population, people who may be in careers now that may not exist in the future, and what are we doing as careers guidance practitioners to engage and support those people. And I think there's a big role there for e-learning. Developing the skills of our staff is another key aspect of any kind of digital journey that we're on, and I think in particular our data analytical skills and forecasting and modeling capacity. I think that's an area that we're becoming richer and richer in data, but I think having the skills to really sort of get underneath that and pick out the stories that data is telling us is an area that we will be looking to build on. And from an actual technology point of view, obviously moving towards a cloud and a more flexible system architecture. So what we're talking about, a more modular approach to the technology we're using, so we can build once and deploy in various ways. One of the key mantras I've got is about obviously with digital and communications, it's all about innovation, but it's about innovation with purpose. I'm going to talk to you shortly about one of the projects we've got with Minecraft, but there's some other I think some really sort of innovative practices happening in Wales. We'll shortly be publishing new resources for young people with additional learning needs, a new version of our Buzz quiz and jobs information. And what's really interesting, I think, and what's unique about those is the journey that we've been on. These have been sort of co-designed with young people through workshops, through lots of user research sessions, with teachers, with parents. And it's really been, what's been really sort of refreshing about this, I think, is it hasn't been kind of technology people going away and building something and coming back. This has actually been sort of co-designed with young people. And we're looking forward to deploying those in the next few months. Our video content, we've been using interactive webinars such as this to engage young people with employers, and they've been a real success, as is our sort of use of video content and social media engagement. The last 2 months have seen our social media engagement go from several 100,000 a month up into the millions. So when we talk about going where the eyes are, you know, the audience on our social media has been enormous, and the growth we've seen there. And again, that shows taking good careers content to the audience where they are.
Gareth, could I just interject? I can hear a little bit of background noise. So could I just ask everyone, if you're not presenting, can you just turn your speakers off so that we don't sort of get some disruption? I can just hear a little bit of background noise. Thank you. Sorry, Gareth, I just wanted to make sure everyone could hear well.
That may well have been my son on Xbox, actually.
That's fine. We understand.
So just moving along. So for those of you familiar with Wales, who have visited Wales, this is Carnarvon Castle, which is one of our sort of landmark castles in North Wales. This is one of the 6 iconic landmarks which we developed in Minecraft, and these are going to be used in the Minecraft Education Edition, which is available to all schools and all pupils in Wales. Within all these 6 landmarks, we were setting them careers-related challenges and activities where they can learn about different careers. They can develop career management skills through problem solving and group activities and collaboration. And it's intrinsically linked to the new curriculum for Wales and the careers guidance that is sort of woven through the curriculum. So this is something that we're really sort of pleased with. We're really excited about deploying. We've been engaging with teachers and young people throughout. So this is Big Pit, which is another sort of key landmark in South Wales. So we're setting them challenges and activities within Minecraft that they can do, and then they can scrapbook and portfolio and present these challenges back to the classes. So for instance, for those who are familiar with Minecraft, in Big Pit, they're going to go underground and they're going to go through a series of chambers underground, each of which will show them a new emerging career in science and technology. They may go into a data science lab underground or a semiconductor plant underground, and they can engage them with the characters in Minecraft and learn more about the different types of careers that will be available. We've got a national theatre called the Millennium Centre, which we've designed, and they're going to go in there and learn more about creative industries and the types of jobs that are involved in putting on a production. So not just sort of screenwriting or acting, but also the kind of system, set engineers, marketing, and all the different roles involved in creative industries. So we've got this sort of sector-wide Minecraft world, which we're going to be sort of deploying later in the summer. So the impact of COVID-19 on Careers Wales, I think probably like most people, it's been a massive accelerator of our planned transformation programs. Within the space of a few days, we went from very much an office-based workforce with some remote working to having all our staff working remotely within a matter of days. And going back to that innovation with purpose, our ability to video conference quite quickly, we were realizing obviously that we had to adapt our practices and be able to run video conferences with customers. We've developed our approaches to e-learning, creating new resources on and publishing and promoting them. We're looking at virtual events, online careers fairs, virtual work experience, developing homeschool resources for parents about careers education, and providing support for workers who've been on furlough, working with colleagues in Welsh Government. I think what has been probably the most biggest impact, and I know there's Careers Wales colleagues with me, so feel free to chip in. I think there's been a big culture shift. I think the way staff have adapted, responded, and the kind of resilience they've shown, to me, it has been really inspiring. I think we've sort of shown we've got a huge appetite for change. We've always been known as a organisation that's adaptable and ready to rise to challenges that have been put towards us, and I think we've shown that again here. From my own perspective, I think that the value of IT and digital to the organisation has obviously increased. And what's been interesting, we've started some engagement with staff now around what our recovery looks like. And it's clear straight away that staff see digital and the digital journey we're on as key to the challenges we're facing as we move to whatever the new normal will look like. From a communications perspective, we've been very proactive. We've been reaching out to customers through text, through email, and through social media with our sort of strong here to help message. We've never said that we're closed. We've always said we're open for business, just through different channels. And what's been interesting, just monitoring the traffic that's coming in, our social media and web chat channels and email have all been performing strongly. No real dip there in contact, but our telephone contact has gone down considerably, to around a third of what it was in the kind of normal weeks before lockdown. We're starting to see an increase in that, but yeah, it's interesting that the telephone dropped off really considerably.
Gareth, Vicky Woodings is asking, is Minecraft aimed at primary schools? What age range?
Yeah, so one of the key things with the new curriculum is it's sort of 3 to 16, and some of the research we've been doing with the teachers who've been using Minecraft already have said, it is an all-age tool. I think for us as Careers Wales, when we came at this, we were thinking really that kind of transition years between primary and secondary school. So I think most of it will be targeted towards 9 to 13, but there's no reason why that couldn't be expanded for all ages.
Great. And I've got another comment from Andy Tellum, who's saying that we're data rich, but intelligence poor in terms of how we're actually using all of this. And your slide there demonstrates that Wales actually, like so many other areas, is going to be pretty hard hit by all of this.
Yeah, I think Wales has always been that. We're a country that whenever there's an economic shock, Wales does fare disproportionately bad. Some of the sectors as an all Wales service as well, we've got a challenge because we know that some regions, and this is be the same across the UK, I'm sure, some regions will be particularly reliant on sectors that are going to be hit worse than others. So as an all Wales service, we've got to think about that. And there are, so some areas you can imagine financial services bouncing back a little bit quicker, some areas in manufacturing, but some sectors going to be hit really hard, and they tend to be sort of confined to certain areas. West Wales in particular, very reliant on agriculture, tourism, hospitality industries. Mm-hmm. So I think that's an issue for us. We've got as you touched on, the prospects of young people, a lot of those who will be working in those kinds of sectors, as well as those who sort of left school already. The hard to reach will become harder to reach. And as a company, then I think the response for us is how we manage this, predictive bow wave effect. At the moment, like I said, some of the contact has gone down, but we know potentially in the coming months that is going to rise considerably. How things like furlough are phased out will have an impact there as well. Maintaining performance and customer satisfaction. This touches on the face-to-face. At the moment, we're providing almost an exclusively digital service. We know that we get greater customer satisfaction through face-to-face services. So for me, it's how far are we going to tolerate that balance that drop off in customer satisfaction as we drive towards digital channels, or how can we make the digital channels as good as the face-to-face guidance interviews? A big issue for us and for everybody around how we support those school leavers, those year 11s and year 13s who finish school, those who've got good support networks around them. I'm sure will find their way, but those without, the hard to reach have become harder to reach now they're out of the school environment. Digital exclusion is something that's been coming up quite a few times now, and I think that's something we can all kind of bear in mind. In Wales, digital exclusion isn't just about linked to poverty or age. It's also to do with where you live, rurality, and people not being able to engage with people through video contact because they simply don't have the signal. You know, these kinds of things are all that we should all be thinking about as we're planning our digital services. It's easy just to go 100% digital, but you need to take people with you and think about those people who won't have access for a whole range of reasons. And also, I think this is significant as well, is the impact that we've got on businesses. So business engagement is a key part of what we do in Careers Wales. And those businesses that we have been engaged with are going to find their own models and their own infrastructures changing, and we've got to respond to that as well. So, as always, with challenges, there's opportunities. Like I said, really proud of all the Careers Wales staff and the way we've responded. I think the opportunity for us now is to build on that and continue the journey we've gone on. And as always, there are opportunities for innovation in service delivery, not just digital, but we've got to think about how we're meeting those customer needs in different ways. Interestingly, again, from our staff engagement that we started, a lot of staff talking about actually this way of working. While it was very challenging, the sort of sudden shock is actually people are starting to get used to it and appreciating, you know, there's elements of well-being there. And we've got opportunities to improve our productivity, reduce costs. I think as we become more and more digital, as we can see on events like this, we can build stronger networks, not just across Wales or the UK, but internationally, and kind of learn best practice from each other. And yeah, for me, I think it's all about, it's a difficult time, it's a hugely challenging time. It feels trite to say that there are opportunities to come from this, but I think for us to kind of adapt, there are opportunities for us to improve the services that we can offer. I think we can build on a lot of what we've learned in the past 5-6 weeks and really kind of transform career services moving forward into the future.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Gareth. And these slides will all be made available after the webinar. And I'm mindful that that's been great. It's given us really good insight to how a country like Wales is responding. So please do use the chat facility now if there are any questions that you would like to ask. And we'll sort of pick that up after our final presentation by George. Andrew Wallum is saying, is there a way of using WhatsApp and other young people friendly apps safely? Might be something we'll pick up later. And Stephen Puttle has asked about how do we manage safeguarding. You'll see on our website in the resources page, there's some really useful resources on that. So I want to really just move on now quickly to our next speaker, to thank Gareth for that excellent presentation, and really for Rhys to tell us about Nesta challenges and digital innovations from your context. Rhys, I'm just wondering if you can hear us okay. We can see you, but we can't hear you. Just maybe while Rhys is just having a look at connecting with us, maybe in the chat facility.
Well, thank you. So I'm Rhys Harry, I'm Program Manager with Nesta Challenges. How is that?
Perfect.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Rhys, we can hear you.
Okay, I think there might be a slight delay. So I'll just start. So I'm a program manager within Nesta Challenges, and as Deidre said up front, I'm managing the Career Tech Challenge Prize. So if you're unfamiliar, Nesta is a global innovation foundation, which broadly means we try and support new ideas which make the world a better place through research, experimentation, as well as some funding programs. And then with Nesta, Nesta Challenges is a dedicated team for running challenge prizes. So we work with governments, corporates, not-for-profits around the world to run competitions which shine a light on important problems and incentivize the development of new groundbreaking solutions. So it's all about trying to raise the profile of the problem and bring new innovators into a space. And one of the programs that we've got at the moment is the Career Tech Challenge. So this is a £5.75 million program that is a collaboration between Nesta Challenges, Nesta as a whole, as well as the Department for Education. And what we're trying to do through this program is we're trying to help people navigate and prepare for employment in a changing workforce. So Nesta's research suggests that there's more than 6 million people in the UK who are currently in roles that are likely to change or disappear entirely by 2030, whether because of demographic changes, urbanisation, or the rise of the green economy or automation. And in the nearer term, know that COVID-19 is already accelerating all of these changes. So a prolonged lockdown, we expect, would put millions of jobs at immediate risk, and the workers in these jobs are in particularly precarious positions. So research by McKinsey suggests that about 80% of the jobs at risk are held by people without a tertiary degree. So last year, Nesta published Precarious to Prepared, which is our manifesto for supporting the workers most at risk over the coming decade. In that, we set out 4 priorities. One is an education system which prepares young people for an uncertain future by teaching a wider range of skills, including social and emotional skills, as well as creativity. 2 is creating better quality local jobs and services spread across the entire economy and for workers on all types of contracts. 3 is tailored learning, which allows more at-risk workers to participate in learning throughout their entire lives, and acknowledging the complex needs that these individuals can come to learning with, such as time, money, or even the motivation or understanding of what they need to be learning about. And finally, we're also calling for open data on jobs and skills to help workers, cities and regions understand what the local opportunities and challenges might be over the coming years. And it's these last 2 points which we're trying to contribute to through the Career Tech Challenge with 2 funding tracks. So the first is a challenge prize, which is focused on helping people navigate the labour market with data-driven advice and guidance. And the second is a grant fund, which is supporting innovative online learning platforms which build career adaptability and help improve motivation to learn and complete the course. Both of these programs are encouraging solutions which support people hit the hardest by an insecure job market, those who are without a degree and working in sectors such as retail, manufacturing and transport. And those priority sectors have been informed by both research by the Department for Education, as well as some earlier research Nesta did with Pearson and Oxford University. The fund has recently announced the 11 innovators that they will be supporting, and that provided between £150,000 and £250,000 to each of those organisations. And across this cohort of innovators, we can see some 4 broad themes around how they are innovating in this space. So we're seeing innovation which helps build learner motivation. We're seeing innovation which helps people search for and find relevant learning content, which is right for them. We're seeing innovation in how the upskilling and reskilling itself is being delivered. And we're seeing innovations around how learners can be connected with work. So this is a quick snapshot of who we're funding through the Career Tech Challenge Fund. And I'll give you a couple of examples as well. So there's Agent Academy. So they currently are already in the market delivering industry-designed learning programs for young people aged 18 to 25. And through the Career Tech Challenge Fund, we're going to be supporting them develop their new online platform, Switch. So this will be an adaptation of their existing platform for people over the age of 25. And a particular focus for them through this project is going to be developing unique, personalised content, which uses real-world scenarios that help learners build portfolios of work, which they can then attach to their CVs. Another example is My Kind of Future. So they'll be developing a combined online learning and peer mentoring course. So their solution will be automatically matching learners with appropriate mentors who can support them through the learning content that they're covering. And throughout the program, they're going to be partnering with employers who will be using this platform with employees in at-risk roles. Now on the prize side, we've awarded 20 finalists £50,000 each to work on their solutions over the next 8 months. And you can see on the screen some of the common features that we're seeing across the board. So everyone in our cohort is using data about the labour market to provide information information, advice and guidance to people who need it. But what we're seeing is that most of our finalists are using some combination of games, quizzes, questionnaires, or even just job history information, users' skills as a basis for the advice that they provide. About a quarter of our cohort will be providing specific ongoing coaching, either through chatbots, web forums, or partnerships with organisations already providing this service in the market. We're also seeing some innovation in how the advice is being delivered. We're seeing some interesting partnerships between community organisations and local governments and tech startups to try and reach users in a new way. We're also seeing the use of chatbots to either deliver information or guide users through the process. And we also have seen some really interesting approaches to specific delivery within a specific region for the duration of the prize. And again, I won't go through all 20 because we'll be here all afternoon, but I will give a couple of examples. So one is Lenisa, which is an AI-powered platform that makes personalised online course recommendations. So something that Lenisa have identified through their research is that there's 2/3 of learners who are not convinced whether the choice of online course is suitable for them. And so what they're trying to do is work through a matching process with users where they can identify the most suitable course for someone based on their own individual skill sets, goals, and preferences for learning. And through the prize, we'll be funding them to expand the use of labour market data so they can improve their matching and improve learner outcomes. Another is My Future, who are being funded at their digital skills bursts, which is going to be a gamified approach to skills assessment. So My Future will be on the platform for young people to create a profile and be matched with relevant employment, learning, and volunteering experiences. But through the prize, they'll be developing these digital skill bursts, and they'll also be expanding their delivery to over 25s. Another is the Career Chat chatbot, which I'll leave Dr. Hughes to talk to in some more detail later on in this session. But what comes next for all of these innovators? So in March next year, our prize judges will select a winner and runner-up who, in their view, have the greatest potential for further impact. And they'll receive a further £120,000 and £80,000 respectively. On the fund side, those innovators will receive continuous support and development and evaluation over the coming months, with an expectation that learners will be able to be on those platforms from autumn this year. And I'd just like to close with sharing some principles which have, which we've sort of seen come to light for digital innovation in the labour market, which I hope that you're all able to keep in your heads if you're considering innovation in this space. And these were put forward by one of Nesta's researchers after our Working Better conference last year. This conference brought together 150 experts from government, charities, universities, education providers and industry to look at what needed to create a fairer, more efficient and robust system for jobs and skills. The first principle that we are putting forward here is that innovations need to be smart. They need to generate and collect and share useful information about the labour market. The types of data-driven solutions that we're funding through the prize are a start in this space, but there's a need for more open and accessible data which allows stakeholders to be able to understand and prepare for changes, whether this is local governments being able to know and to identify the disparities between skill supply and demand, or individual workers being able to understand and prepare for careers which will be emerging in demand. Second is human. So the labour market data is obviously very important, but it's also very important that we don't reduce people to data points or bundles of skills which can be picked up and slotted into a particular role. Instead, we need a labour market system which serves the people working within it, capitalising on their own unique strengths and capabilities and giving them space to flourish. Third is inclusive. So it's not enough to just be human focused. We also need to be actively seeking out the people who are losing out and who are most at risk and tailor services to their needs. So I think Gareth gave some great examples of how they're doing that in Careers Wales. And I think this is something that we want to see continue to evolve in this space. Fourth is future-oriented. So this is something that we've seen immediately brought to light with the COVID-19 crisis. So it's had an unprecedented impact, which very few people could have predicted. But in many ways, the impact that it's having on workforces around the world has really just brought to light and accelerated many of the issues already being discussed around the world under the umbrella of the future of work. So a future-oriented system looks for trends and identifies the widest possible range of valuable skills and encourages lifelong learning, can help us be as prepared as possible for the unpredictable. And finally, tested. So the best way for us to find effective solutions is going to be to experiment and evaluate and identify what works. And I think part of this is also going to be acknowledging that what works in one region or in one sector or for one particular individual is not necessarily going to be able to work in all cases, and being able to look for what are the commonalities that we can share and what are the learnings that we need to take away and adapt for a new context. So I might leave it there. I apologise if I've had a few connection issues which have made it difficult to follow along. I do hope that I've been able to sort of shed a bit of light on the innovations that we're supporting and some of the opportunities that we see for innovation in this space. If you are interested in hearing more about Nesta's work in work and skills, or if you're interested in partnering, working with, or supporting our innovators that we're funding that I've mentioned in this presentation in any way, please send us an email at careertech@nesta.org.uk and we'll be able.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Rhys. That was great. I'm going to just quickly, I've turned on the poll because we've got some polls for our audience to respond to. So perhaps you would like to just, can you see the poll? Send me a signal. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are revolutionizing the way many industries operate. Do you have any first-hand experience of this in a career development context? Perhaps you could just fill in the poll. George, send me a signal just to let me know that everyone can see this. If you can all see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So please, colleagues, do respond to that poll now, and let's see what your responses are. I think I might have been a little bit too quick of the mark there. I'm going to just reset it and encourage you to fill that. Now, I'm really mindful of time, and I did say that I wanted to make sure that in this webinar we were able to bring a few people in. And I am so delighted that we were chosen as one of the 20 finalists to look at the development of a chatbot. We have a 3-minute video that I was going to show you, which will just explain to you what Career Chat is all about. I'm sort of hesitating because I think maybe George could tell you what it's about, and then we could send you the video link afterwards as a sort of takeaway from this, because I do want to make sure that any questions that you have, we get that little bit of interactivity. So let me just hand over to George. You'll see on this slide here, we're looking at a chatbot that will be a personalized guided career journey experience, specifically for adults aged 24 to 65. And we're looking at risk sectors or in low skill jobs in 3 major cities in the UK. And we'll be looking at how we can build individuals' confidence up using the technology. And we're particularly interested in the interrelationships between the bot and actually the user, and the formal and the informal support systems that are there. So just get ready after George's presentation to put your hand up if you have any questions, and I'm going to try and make the technology work and bring you in. So let me just hand over to George around some reflections, and then I'll come back to some of the bots that we've looked at already.
Okay, thank you, Deidre. Hello, everybody from sunny Athens. I'm George Pekiaridis, and my last name is too Greek, so Deidre didn't pronounce it. So I'm just George. Next time you can introduce me as James Bond, so it's easier. So what we are trying to do within this project, actually we are trying to combine different technologies in order to build a chatbot system to help people to find a personalized path through their careers. What we are technologies we are using is actually we are using natural language processing, where we understand what the users are typing. We are using advanced AI, artificial intelligence models in order to train the system to be a career guide. This is very challenging. We are using also AI in order to contextualize these discussions and remember what has been discussed, like a real life situation. And finally, we're using a lot of database technologies in order to collect, analyze, normalize, and present up-to-date labor market information and data to the end users. This is a real challenging process, but I have to say that there are a lot of new advancements in the AI technologies, and every day there are new developments. So we are very optimistic that we can manage to develop a real working chatbot. What is important to mention is that by any means we are not trying to replace the real career guide people that do career guidance. We are trying to support them, to be next to them, and what I like to use as a term is to make them to be in an AI augmented environment where they can use technology both from end user side, also to the career guide side, in order to have the best outcome. This is our aim. I think there is nothing more to analyze, because we'll be very technical, and it's not the role of this presentation to be very technical. But I'm really happy to answer any questions if there are. Thank you. We cannot hear you, Deidre.
Apologies, I switched my mic off. Just quickly, we've looked at some other chatbots to help guide our thinking, and I've just given you some examples here. Walk with Yeshe, an Ethiopian woman, takes us on her daily search for clean water. We get to see through the bot what that actually feels like. Woebot, which are tiny conversations to help you actually feel better, a sort of motivator. Don'tPay.com is a totally different type of bot, the world's first robot lawyer. And Roo, which is a really interesting bot, which is about your personal health and sex education, aimed particularly at young people. And Bob, the sort of French version of a career chatbot. So just to say, you'll see in our little video, it'll tell you more about what we're going to be doing. And please, do come back to us. Now it's your turn to let me just see if I can get you to fill out another poll now, just very quickly. But while I'm doing that, please put up your hand if you'd like to talk. George has left the room, but he's coming in again as an attendee, so that anyone who wants to ask a question or converse with us, get ready to switch your mic on, and please put your hand up and I will bring you into the conversation. I'm not seeing any signals yet for hands up. So let's just see if in the chat facility we've got anything. I've got a few points here from Benny in the Netherlands. Great, Benny, that you're online following us. He's pointing us to the Cedefop website where individual learning accounts, there's quite a lot there that perhaps we can learn from. I'm still not seeing anything here on the hands up for people to speak, but I'm seeing quite a lot of chat. I'm going to give it another minute, and if I don't see that, I am going to play you our little video so that you can learn more about the Career Chat bot. Alison has asked us, Alison Copeman has asked us to give her the link to the Resolution Foundation Youth Unemployment paper, which we will certainly send out to you with the recording. So, you know, in the best interest of using technology, being flexible and being able to, when one thing doesn't work, to shift to another seamlessly, let me show you our 3-minute video that tells you about
the world of work is changing.
That we're developing.
The UK population and the workforce is ageing, and at a time of rapid acceleration in automation, this will impact on almost every area of work now and in the future. People will thrive best if they can reflect on the skills that they currently possess, learn new skills and retrain on a lifelong basis. To assist with this, we will provide a new solution called Career Chat. Career Chat is a highly innovative chatbot which will be piloted in 3 major cities in England. This will be in the northeast, Newcastle, in the southwest, Bristol, and in the Midlands, Derby. We already have well-established working relationships here and partners who have agreed to work with us. Career Chat is aimed at adults in at-risk sectors such as retail, logistics, manufacturing, and it will provide informed, friendly and flexible access to high-quality labour market information at a local and national level. Career Chat will allow users to explore their current situation, to reflect on their motivation and their skills and their interests, to find out about the requirements of different jobs, salaries, competition for jobs, supply and demand, and also to consider pathways and access to learning and work opportunities. Most importantly, we will provide success stories of people who have switched to new sectors. At a technical level, Career Chat is designed to be accessed on computers, mobile phones and devices. This ensures the widest possible access. We will be incorporating AI technology, the use of secure data applications, and natural language processing to produce a personalised dialogue with the user. The LMI and principles underpinning Career Chat will include the Department for Education LMI for All initiative, the Office for National Statistics, and local data from the cities. The most important aspect here as well is to think about the professionals who support individuals. Career Chat will actually free up those professionals to be able to focus more on the in-depth guidance. Career Chat is filling a gap that needs to be filled urgently around how do we get good quality information to more people, and particularly adults.
Colleagues, I'm sorry, we seem to have just dropped off the end there. I think there might be a few broadband issues. I'm going to just encourage you to send me a signal that you can still hear me. It's great. We have 170 people who have still stayed with us right until almost the very, very end. My challenge today was to try and bring people into the conversation. The technology's new and we're getting better at it each time. So do sort of stick with us, and let's hope next time I'll achieve my goal of bringing more people. In the chat facility, any questions that you have for Gareth or indeed for Rhys, we are going to actually pick those up, and we will actually get back to you if there are any specific things that we can help and assist with. So I'm really sorry that the polls haven't worked today, but I'm definitely feel that our presentations have been just absolutely first class. Cordelia Wise says, what are the 3 cities in career chat being trialled? Bristol, Derby and Newcastle. Lindsay Taggart says, can the bot understand spelt words correctly? We'll let you know in a few months' time when we're further down the line. Can the bot understand the underlying implications of career choices and therefore understand where feelings and emotions come in? I think this is where there's a lot of interest and development around people's confidence, and we were sort of really keen to hear from you on any examples of good and interesting practice that you would like to share with us. We have 4 minutes to go until the end. I'm just trying to respond to some of the questions that I can see. Gareth and Rhys, any further reflections from your point of view? Any sort of final comments or things that you would like to say that you haven't had a chance to say?
I certainly think as a sector, the challenge, I think it was Louise who said the question about we struggle with this, the blended personal and digital approach as the chatbots and AI become more intuitive. I don't see, perhaps in the short term, that they can ever replace the emotional sort of connection between a face-to-face interview. But I think that's just going to be a really interesting area to look at in the over the next 5 years, certainly.
Thank you. And what about you, Rhys? That's from you. Gareth, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I think
Great. It might just be some broadband issues.
I think nothing in such response to the questions. I just want to, but can you hear me now?
I can. Yes, thank you. Great. So look, we've got some questions, lots of questions about the chatbot. Let me just sort of share our final slides, because this is the beginning of a conversation, really. We've got some future webinars planned. You'll see the details here and we'll share the slides with you. Just also to say, if you're interested in what goes on in primary schools on career-related learning, we'll be sharing on social media with our partners from Our Future Derby, some information there. We've got an international conference planned in Birmingham, subject to what happens with the announcement from the Prime Minister here in a few days' time. So watch this space. We've got some the UK-wide Career Development Institute and Careers England have got a survey out at the moment looking at how things are panning out in the UK. So that survey closes tomorrow, and there's lots of great resources that are available to you that we'll share the links with. And I really just want to end just to say, look, these are busy times for all of us, and I really just want to thank you on behalf of the Career Chat team, Professor Graham Atwell, Chris Percy, George, Becky Redis, whose name I may not have pronounced correctly, but we're on a journey. You can contact us if you'd like to be part of that journey. We're going to set up a community of interest. Email ADMN, it's not It's admn@dmhassociates.com. Thank you so much for your time. We are all learning on this journey. Thank you to our presenters, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar session, where we'll be continuing to learn more about digital innovation, and we'll share our thoughts with you. Take good care, stay safe, and until we meet again, eat lots of chocolate.